Hi all, Mary Bulger here, Naturalist with Iowa County Conservation. And today, something inspired me, of course. When you woke up this morning here in our part of the state, we had snow that was covering the ground. And that made me think about and wish for spring even more. And I thought we'd talk about a little bit of a sign of spring. One of my favorite birds, when you start to see a lot of these birds, it's kind of one of those first signs of spring, the American robin. So I'm going to share with you a little bit about the American robin. We're going to look at some pictures, some different parts and different things from robins today. Let me turn my camera around here. So, since I can't have a real live robin, I do have some neat pictures that I want to share with you and some other neat things. So what we're looking at here is a picture of a robin. They have some really key kind of identifying markings on their bodies. Of course, that reddish orange chest and belly, and then that dark brown to black head, wings, back, and tail. And they have a large yellow beak and a kind of darker eye. So we all might be familiar with robins. And when we think about them, we know that they are one of those birds that when you start to see a lot of them, you know it is springtime. But some of you may not know that some robins do stay around, even here in the cold winter in Iowa during the wintertime. They will usually gather together in big flocks or big groups in kind of densely wooded areas. And you might ask yourself, well, I thought they always ate worms. They can't really find worms in the wintertime. And that's true. The ground is frozen. Worms are a little bit down deep and they're hard to get to. But what they can sustain themselves on during the wintertime are dried berries. So here we have a picture of a robin that is eating some dried berries. This isn't a wintertime picture, but a lot of those trees or bushes or shrubs that have berries, they will provide nutrition, or the robins will eat those during the wintertime. So worms and insects during the warmer times of year, and dried berries during the winter time when they're staying here in Iowa. A lot of them do migrate or go to a warmer spot, but we still do see some here in Iowa during the winter time. If you're going to want to look for robins here in the winter time, then go for a hike in a kind of a densely wooded area. One of my favorite places to see them here in Iowa County is the Amana Nature Trail. They have a nice trail that goes through lots of woods. I always see them there. So here I have a few things, real items from the robin. And the first one here being something you might recognize. This is what's left of a robin's egg. And you can see it is empty inside. I found this last year outside. So hopefully this bird hatched and is nice and alive. And the robin's egg, is kind of identified as an egg that robin's egg blue, that kind of light sky blue. And it's really recognizable. So we have a robin's egg, what's left of the eggshell here. It's a pretty nice one. And then I also have some feathers from a robin, some tail feathers here. And these tail feathers are kind of a dark brown to black color, depending on where you're looking here. And that is typical of the robin here. And then I also have a foot and the leg from a robin. If we take a close look, we can see that this foot, and it's true of all birds, they have 4 toes. When it comes to the robin, they have 3 toes that are kind of facing forward and 1 facing backwards. And They might use their toes, their claws, to dig a little bit down, like in leaves and stuff, when they're looking for food, looking for worms, digging in the grass. But they're not really using them kind of like other birds, like a woodpecker that would perch on a tree to look for its food. So they're not really big and strong, unlike raptors and woodpeckers they would use their toes for. I also have with me today a skull replica. And so that means that this is not a real skull, but a replica. It's made of plastic, but it's the same size and same shape as a robin. And if we're taking a look at, let's look back at this head here. The reason it looks a little bit smaller, of course, is because robins have kind of big, fluffier feathers. And when you look at the real thing, it looks a little bit smaller, right? Or a lot smaller even. And the beak and this part of the skull are all kind of attached in one big piece. You can see they have really, really big eyes or eye sockets. They have big nostrils, and their beak is about, I would say, down to my first knuckle. So it's probably about 3/4 of an inch or so long. So that is what a robin skull or a skull replica looks like. And then one last thing that I wanted to share with you, and you may or may not have seen these before. So this is a robin's nest. I'm going to take it out of the container here so we can take a closer look here. And so robins, small birds actually, they make their nests with just their beaks and their feet. And a robin makes a really kind of unique nest. This nest actually came from my windowsill a few years ago. I had the really neat opportunity, my bedroom window, a pair of robins picked that spot, the windowsill on the outside, and they built this nest. And so what they do is they bring mouthfuls of mud and they start to make the inside the bowl, which is completely made out of mud. And then they bring sticks and they bring grasses and they bring twigs. Some even bring, this is a piece of plastic that they brought to kind of weave in there. And they'll use their beaks and their feet to build this nest. This nest, it probably took them 2 days to build this on my windowsill. And then I got to peek at them every now and then. They laid 3 eggs. The eggs all hatched and the babies fledged or left the nest. So that was a really neat opportunity for me to see right up against my window on my windowsill, this robin's nest being built and the babies in it. So those are just a few facts about robins, the American robin. My challenge for you today is to go outside in the next couple of days and see if you can find a robin, probably right in your own backyard, because this time of year, they're all over the place. We're getting rain or maybe snow that's melting like today. And I want you to find a robin and I want you to watch it and see what it's doing. Is it hopping around? Is it eating a worm? Is it flying? Is it perched up in a tree singing? They have very, very beautiful songs. If you have any specific questions about robins, please post those in the comments and share our post if you would like. If you have any requests also, please post those in the comments or send us a message. After I post this, I will put a link to a really neat website where you can learn more about robins. And if you happen to find a robin outside, please post those pictures too. I'd love to see if you can find a robin out in your yard or at a park. Thanks very much for listening today. See you tomorrow.